Our first guest tonight is a Tony-nominated, an Emmy and Academy Award-winning actor, writer, and filmmaker who I know best from his work in the 1982 thriller Mazes and Monsters. You can see him in The World of Tomorrow, which is playing now through December 21st at the Sheds Griffin Theater here in New York. Please welcome back to the show our friend, your friend, Tom Hanks, everybody.
Okay, first of all right, thanks. Thank you. All right, first of all, I greatly appreciate the Bosom Buddies reference in the monologue.
Yep, we thought.
I hope it makes the edit.
Yep.
That you've got me, Peter Scolari, Jimmy Carter, and Walter Mondale.
Yeah. We're doing a show for the kids.
It's not just the glaucoma that's got to be cut. You got to get around there and check the other stuff too.
Yeah. This is very exciting to have you in New York City this time of year. You're doing a play. You're in New York in the fall.
Yes, we are. The Shed downtown is in Hudson Yards, which is great to be there. I cannot talk enough about Ruben Santiago Hudson. The cast of
This is your cast, Kelly O'Hara.
You know, one of the reasons we have, for example, like the fabulous Kelly O'Hara, is because it is essentially a short run. We have about 600 seats. We're playing to just before Christmas, so we're coming in. We're coming in with a big.
So
bang.
all stars will come in because they don't have to worry about this being. They're happy to do it because they know it's going to end at Christmas.
Well, yeah, but also it's a matter of look. I was legal. I was of age when Mondale was vice president.
Yeah.
So it takes some efforts, man. I feel like Maury Wills in his last 2 seasons. My legs hurt sometimes.
So this is, doing a show every night is not like working on a movie. This is, you got to be on the whole time.
And this is the great thing about it. Anybody who comes to the theater will experience, they call it Dr. Footlights, I will say every one of us has come in thinking, oh, I'm feeling kind of punky today, took a while. What time? Half hour? Okay, let's do the warm-up. But then, as soon as they turn on Dr. Footlights, you feel like $1 million. Let's do the second act again. It was so much fun. They'll do that, is it? It is fab. I have to tell you this, J.O. Sanders, if you know actors, J.O. Sanders in it. I saw J.O. Sanders in 1977 perform Mark Antony in a production of Julius Caesar.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, I'm in junior college. I'm there alone because I cannot get a girl to go with me to see Shakespeare on a bet, you know. They're all going skiing or, I don't know.
That certainly sounds like the excuse they would have given you.
Well...
You do, looking back, know they weren't skiing, right, Tom?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. They just didn't want to go to the city with Hanks. I mean, he's funny, but kind of loud. Yeah. I remember I'm there thinking, if I could be as good an actor as J.O., that Mark Antony was fantastic. Wow. And now I'm working with him, and it's fantastic.
That's right. You co-wrote the show.
Yes, I did, with James Glossman. It's from some of the short stories that were published. And it is never ending a work in progress. You start at the beginning every night, and you go through to the very end, and you're always discovering something new. Someone throws a curveball at you, say, and look, I wrote it, and I'm in it. And someone says a line, and I look at him during the show and say, you said that?
Yeah.
Is that what that means? Well, this is going to change the line I say in another 3 pages because you said it like that. And it ends up just being the greatest life, to a degree, that an actor can have.
That's very exciting. And now you get to spend a Thanksgiving in New York City. When was the last time you spent a Thanksgiving in New York City?
I'm going to say 1979.
Wow.
And here's a test, okay? The last float before Santa on his sleigh ride in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, I had my son Colin, he was on my shoulders. The last ride was riding in a Stutz Bearcat convertible with a huge white fur coat was Chips star Erik Estrada.
Wow.
And I'm telling you right now, the women went berserk.
Yeah.
Cops in Times Square were trying to stop women from running out, trying to tackle them. And someone got up on the running board and kissed Erik Estrada repeatedly on his face in the middle of Times Square.
That's a pretty good 1979
now, by the way,
story.
Has Thanksgiving ever been that joyous since?
No.
I'm going to say right now.
No, because nothing says fall in New York like a highway patrolman from California. in a car.
In a Stutz Bearcat with a big puffy white coat. But then there's a little bit of like, part of me was thinking, someday I could be that guy.
Wow.
And they have yet to ask me
They
to
can't
ride in
believe
the
they
Stutz
would. It
Bearcat.
would be great to have you in a
Well,
in a float.
Bosom Buddies didn't catch on the way they wanted it to. So here
they
I
said
am.
when they gave you the part, they're like, Bosom Buddies, you're definitely going to be in the float this year,
Oh,
Hanks.
that's actually a thing they dangle. There's 3 things we can guarantee. Love Boat, Fantasy Island, possibility for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Did you do a
If
Love Boat?
things
I bet
go
you
well.
did a Love Boat.
I did a Love Boat before Bosom Buddies was on the air.
Great.
And here's what everybody on the Love Boat said. Why are you here? A guy, listen, were you in the Olympics or something that you're on the Love Boat? I said, no, I'm in a pilot and it's going to be on the.
Oh, right, because the Love Boat wasn't. You were only in it if you were famous from something else.
I was being promoted as a new star of ABC.
Oh, so they must have just looked at you askance the minute you showed up.
They did not. No, I was standing next to the AD and it was like, Hanks, is Hanks here? Yeah. Where is he? Hanks? Dude, it's me. Oh, all right. Go over there with Vic Tayback and, be with something. Yeah. I was on they had rotating stories on it, and I was on the one in which I supposedly went to college with Gopher.
Okay.
Fred Grandy.
Yep.
And he thought I was a real playboy. So Gopher and Julie McCoy, they were pretending to be a couple because I was hitting on Julie McCoy.
Got it.
And that was our improbable love story. And boy, it was palpably hot. But the other one.
The way you described it was pretty hot.
But
I mean, we weren't feeling the palpableness, but yeah.
But the other one was 4 Army buddies, all who are all in love with the great Doris Roberts. Doris Roberts went on to, Everybody Loves
Raymond.
She's an absolute legend. But the other Army buddies were, are you ready for this?
Oh my God.
Vic Tayback.
Great.
Harvey Limbeck.
Okay.
Jack Somack and Nipsey Russell. Those were the 5 guys.
That's really good.
And I was in awe of all those guys.
Of course.
Harvey Limbeck was in Stalag 17, and Vic Tayback was a great character actor who was then on Alice, among other things.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
And
Short
I
Order Cut.
was a guy who maybe had been in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Not really sure.
Here's a
what
fun
was
fact
doing
I have
there.
for you. Fred Grandy's son, Charlie Grandy, ran Weekend Update. He was a head writer for
How
Weekend
about
Update when he was
that?
there.
And
Yeah.
Fred Grandy went off and became a congressman from
That's
the
right.
state of something.
Something.
there
we
you go. So there.
You've had some friends come by the show. Obviously, they want to see you. And Tim Allen.
Tim Allen came to the show last week with this great kid. Tim and I talk every now and again because by the way, we just finished recording Toy Story 5.
Incredible.
So that'll be out. That's a good thing, right?
Truly,
That's
with
a
no
good thing.
exaggeration, what the world needs now.
Well, it's an important thing, and
Yeah.
it's a goofy thing. I mean, we did it for the first time over 30 years
Yeah.
ago. It was the first time we went into the recording studio, so that we can do that. It's great. Don't smoke cigarettes, kids. Don't drink and drive, because otherwise the voice goes. You don't want to have it. Hi, wait, let's get back to Andy's room. You don't want to be that. You don't want to be that guy, right? That's not going to work. But the fact that Tim was there spread like wildfire through the shed. Everybody in the shed knew that Tim was coming, and so this had the stage manager announce to the cast. Usually after a show, there's a number of people that say hello to their friends that are there.
Yeah.
Others, boom, they're changed, they're out.
Of
They want to go home.
Yeah.
Particularly on a 2-show day, which Saturday is. So they're gone. But we had the announcement. If any cast members would like to get a picture with Buzz and Woody, Buzz and Woody will be in the green room after the show. Once again, cast photos with Buzz and Woody will be in. Everybody stayed.
Of course.
We all got
That's a
shot
fantastic. You can't
with,
beat it.
With Buzz and Woody.
That was early on. That's one of the first movies I introduced my kids to. But I had this real rite of passage recently. I showed my boys because they are obsessed with baseball movies.
Oh, okay.
And we showed them A League of Their Own.
League of Their Own.
And I will say, first of all, it's a perfect film.
It is.
It is literally a perfect
Penny
film.
Marshall and all of us.
You've had some Oscar gold in your life. I truly believe overlooked.
Peaked in the 90s.
Oh, but still, that was a perfect one. Perfect one. There's no crying in baseball scene. Your face is so red.
Oh, yeah.
You're so angry. And I'm just wondering, how many takes did you do?
Biddy Schramm came in weeping already.
Yeah.
I think who was fabulous. I'm going to say it was maybe 2 really, really long takes.
Gotcha.
But it was kind of, because Penny said, just get as mad as possible. Oh, I said, oh, you want? Yeah, I'm gonna go livid. I think livid would be funny. Try to be livid. So we just kept going. I mean, it's really only written once or twice.
Yeah.
You know, but I must have said there's no crying in baseball 14 times.
Yeah. It's really
of
wonderful.
course.
I mean, I would imagine a script like that is you just go into it knowing it's going to be a joy.
Oh, look, I played ball and ate Frankfurters and talked to the girls all summer long. This was the greatest gig on the planet. Now, I'll tell you there's one scene where I read the pages, and it was in the dugout, and it was they were having problems getting people to come out to see girls play baseball.
Yes.
And as a girls, we might, David Strathairn said we might lose fans, and I read the pages, and I had the very first line in the scene, and I also had the very last line in the scene, and I knew if I didn't get out of that friggin' dugout, I was going to be shooting that scene for 3.5 days, like this. Because every member of the Peaches had a line.
Right.
And exchanged it. But wait a minute, what are we going to do? We can't stop now. I've worked too hard to get on the team, but I love the team. I want people to come, but people aren't coming. Every single girl, every one of the Peaches had a line. So I came out, okay, Pennywood says, time to rehearse, let's rehearse. All right, and all right, come out, Tom. And I came out, all right, girls, come on. Hundreds of people are waiting to see us play. And then I walked out of the dugout. She said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to give the lineup to the umpire. And then I waited until just before my line at the end, and I walked back into the dugout saying, all right, girls, come on, atta baby. I can't remember what the line is, but I swear that because of where the sun was, they had to shoot that for hours in like 3 successive afternoons. And you know what I was doing while they were shooting?
What was that?
I was playing 3 Flies Up and eating turkey franks, baby.
There you
Because
go.
I was smart enough to walk out.
That's
of the
like
set.
that's a pro actor
That's
move.
what pros do, baby. They read the script. They read the script and say, I don't think I have to be in this scene.
Yeah. Well, you do have to be in This World of Tomorrow every night, and everybody here and around the world can go see it. Tom Hanks, everyone. Here he is, the one, the only, playing at the Sheds Griffin Theater through December 21st. For tickets and more information, please visit theshed.org. Stick around. We'll be right back with Matt Rogers.